Loyalty to a person, a people, a thing, or a place is only right as long as it lines up with God's will and agenda. Loyal to a person, to a people, to a thing is accurate as long as that person, that people, that thing lines up with God's will. Listen, if nothing can change your loyalty, then your value is questionable. I should say that again. If nothing can make you reconsider your loyalty either to a person or to a thing, that means your own value is questionable. Because your loyalty should be strengthened in a person or in a thing as long as it agrees with the values that you hold. Are you following me? Your loyalty to what God denounced, or what God has rejected, or what God has refused has only one end. That's destruction. When God walks away from something, you should walk away from it. When God rejects something, you should reject. David said, I love those you love, and I also follow you to hate those who hate. Your loyalty to what God has rejected or refused has only one end. It's destruction. And I have a witness in 1 Samuel chapter 23 verse 14 to 18. Jonathan and David. Jonathan came to David in 1 Samuel 23 and said, I know it, my father knows it, you know it, that you are going to be the king after my father, and I'm going to be next to you. That was God's order. That was God's agenda. That was God's will. That's the only thing that anyone should have been loyal or faithful to. Jonathan said, I know God has rejected my father. That's what he was saying. Because the only reason why David will become king is that God has rejected Saul. Because ordinarily, he, Jonathan, should be the next. He was the heir apparent. But he knew. Why? Jonathan was a spiritual man. He knew. That was why he cut a covenant with David. This is the future. This is what God is doing. This is where God is. He saw it, he knew it, he declared it. But in spite of his knowledge, he chose to stay with Saul. He chose to stay with Saul, even when he was the one that gave the prophecy to David. That's why one of the most tragic verses of the Bible is that 1 Samuel 23 verse 18. 1 Samuel 23, 18. Bible says, David stayed in the woods, and what happened to Jonathan? Went to his own house. That was the end of the story. Jonathan did not have to die with Saul. The woman said, we know that God is going to give this land to you people. And she was courageous enough to know that that is what to be loyal to. Where God is, what God is doing. It is not loyalty when it doesn't line up with God's will and agenda.